is not from Republicans.
It means that they think we're the enemy, and we are, right? I mean, in a sense, the only person to, I think, in modern history, to propose an alternative moral code to what the left is proposing here is Ayn Rand. Because she rejects the egalitarianism, she rejects the idea of equality, she rejects the idea of collectivism in a fundamental philosophical way that really no other thinker does.
But shouldn't we help people that are down and out?
It depends.
Big issue.
Some people don't deserve to be helped.
Well,
I was talking to a cab driver, a taxi driver.
what about, you say there's nobody apart from Ayn Rand, but what about Robert Nozick? Robert?
Robert Nozick. I mean, Robert Nozick did some valuable work and some good work, but I don't think he's had the impact, and I don't think he challenged fundamental beliefs in the sense that Ayn Rand did. What's that?
His view wasn't philosophical.
Yeah, I don't think it was deeply philosophical. Ayn Rand presents a whole system of philosophy. Nobody else does that in the 20th century.
I think a lot of the reason the left don't have to bring across their views as ideological is that the collectivist ethics are built so deeply into society.
Absolutely.
That whenever you see them attacking Ayn Rand, people just think, oh, it's par for the course, they're attacking another right-wing lunatic.
Absolutely, no.
They just don't see it as what it is.
The collectivist ethics is baked into Western civilization. It's part of our cultural DNA, and it's therefore what the left does is it capitalizes on that. It doesn't have to propose. What we're proposing, at least as objectivists, what we're proposing, is something radically new and radically different. It's an upheaval of everything that the West has accepted. You know, the periods in which it was more implicit than explicit, right? But basically, it's accepted since the rise of Christianity 2,000 years ago.
This is where I struggle. You're trying to counter a collective idea by building a collective yourself.
How do you build a collective?
But what's the point? Well, the point I took from Ayn Rand was, fuck everybody else, just do what you want.
That's not what Ayn Rand says.
Notice,
anywhere in her writings.
Notice that everybody else in the world is collective, and just...
excuse me. Sorry, I really have to do this now. Look, speaking as a collector's, welfare status, Euro weenie, I have to draw attention to the fact that if you look at a number of metrics per capita spending by government, per progressiveness of taxation and whatnot, the whole lot of Europe, including my much disgraced fatherland, is actually more capitalist than the United States. And I keep seeing headlines, both from Europe and most recently from India, about Atlas Shrugged just racing off the shelves. I just wanted to...
So I'm not sure what the point is.
You're not
going to find disagreement from me
don't write us miserable Europeans off when it comes to the struggle for capitalism and liberty.
Nobody did. I just think you have a cultural barrier that's much higher than the Americans do. Even as America is becoming much, much more like Europe than ever before. I mean, America is galloping towards statism. And indeed, based on economic index, these economic freedom indexes that come out, America is number 18. Denmark is higher, Sweden is higher, Canada is higher, New Zealand is higher, Australia is higher. So, no, America's galloping leftwards. But the spirit of Americans still has more to do with freedom and capitalism than my experience of Europeans, but I'm willing to be challenged on that. And I hope I'm wrong. It would be wonderful. As to your point, I don't know what you're talking about exactly. Nobody's establishing a collective. But if you want to do whatever you want to do in your life, first of all, she would say, she wouldn't say fuck everybody else. She wouldn't use that word to begin with. No, but there's a reason, because it's not fuck everybody else. It's other people enormous values to me. Some people I want to trade with, I want to benefit from. Some people I want to love, some people I don't care about. She's not an individualist, go out into the woods and live by yourself in a hut. And she also says, you can't ignore the society you live in. You can pretend, but they won't ignore you. So I don't want to pay taxes. I hate paying taxes.
Move to Luxembourg then.
What's that?
Somewhere that doesn't
No, but I don't want to move. I love Southern California, where I pay a lot of taxes. Why should I move? Why should the thieves win by forcing me to move?
You're not going to beat them in an argument.
I believe I can win that argument. That's why I'm doing it. You don't want to participate in the argument,
But
no.
making,
But that has nothing to do with being a collective.
The point you were making was that they've hijacked the moral high ground. And you're right, they have. So you can't beat them.
No, excuse me. I have to give the following response.
So why?
My grandfather.
You're constantly.
You don't have to.
Excuse
You don't
me,
have to give any response.
Your fate is to constantly face an uphill battle.
Excuse me. I have to
But it's
respond
fun
to you
because
Because life is
so because there's an uphill battle, because in life there's a challenge, you walk away from it, and you think you're going to be happy walking away from challenges in life. Life is about taking on challenges and climbing that hill. You know, so it's
You're here.
absolutely. So it's, you know, defeatism is not going to lead to individual happiness. Accepting the fact that the state is going to rob you blind and saying, you know, I couldn't be bothered fighting it because I'm going to lose, is not going to lead you to the kind of life. I don't believe it leads to the kind of life that Ayn Rand. And it's not what she did. What did she do? She, to her last breath, she fought the collectivists. She fought the statists. She fought them. She was writing till the end.
But Jeff,
Yeah.
okay, just I've been trying to say, because it was raised earlier,
Yes.
about the idealism of the left, and you know, they have the moral high ground. And I heard you before saying, saying something about libertarians. I consider myself a libertarian,
That's right.
and I don't exactly see it the same way as probably other people either. I think that the right has the moral high ground in other stuff. Like, for example, you know, the patriotism, the country. For me, it's another collective. You know, the state borders. You know, we gotta support our troops.
So you and that.
All of that sort of thing. For me, it's another sort of collectivism, and I don't agree with it based on the idea of individualism.
I get it. So, look, the left, when I say the left has the moral high ground, what I don't mean that they have the moral high ground.
And all the other stuff like you know, drugs and stuff like that. You know, so they have the moral high ground. Well, maybe not in the States anymore, but you know. Yeah, sorry.
So my point is that I don't believe the left has the moral high ground in the sense that they're right. What I'm saying is that they have the moral high ground in the sense that everybody accepts their morality, including the right. Now, I'm not an anarchist. I get a sense that you are. But I'm not an anarchist. I believe borders are important, partially to create competition so that you have different states, so that you can escape somewhere one goes rotten. So I like the idea of borders. I like defending them so that bad guys don't come and kill me. So I believe in a state, but that's not collectivism. There's nothing about a state that is collectivistic. So the right, you're right, the conventional right out there is as collectivistic as the left. They just have different issues on which they collectivize. The right and the left, to a large extent, share the same moral code. They share the same moral high ground, and that's why nothing ever changes. No matter who you elect, it's really rare, like Thatcher in the UK, Reagan for a tiny little period of time, where real change is made, and Reagan didn't make that big of a change. But when you know, it goes away immediately because they share the same goals. They're both collectivists. They both share the same morality of collectivism, and therefore nothing ever moves forward.
It's just that some stuff, you know,
The right emphasizes certain things in which you should sacrifice your life for, and the left wants you to say. I mean, Ayn Rand said that, you know, the right wants to violate your individual rights in your bedroom, and the left wants to violate your individual rights in the boardroom. Now, the fact is that today, they both want to violate your rights in both places, to one extent or another. But, yeah, I mean, they're both anti-individualism. They're both anti-individual rights.
I think there's a question here.
Yes.
Sorry, I just was entirely agree with what you said about not giving up. I also want to slightly disagree with what you said about that no progress is made. And extremely in response to the gentleman over there, my grandparents of blessed memory had survived Hitler and Stalin both, the worst forms collectivism ever did. In my own short life, I've lived to watch the Berlin Wall come crashing down, you know, and watch to see apartheid overthrown. I mean, the really blackest and most wicked forms of collectivism. I appreciate that things look pretty bad, but we're talking about. But I mean, compared with that, I mean, my grandfather once threatened to bury an axe in a commissar's head if he was going to nationalise our farm. And I mean, compared with that, you know, Obama, David Cameron, bring it on. They're nothing in comparison.
Well,
I'm more positive that way.
Well, it depends. Because the problem is, and you know, this is turning into a open Q&A rather than inequality. That's fine. We don't need to talk about inequality. This is more fun anyway. But this is the problem.
Well, let me just check. Are people happy? Are you happy?
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
Who wants to do lecture? Who wants to do Q&A at the end?
Q&A at the end.
Q&A at the end.
Q&A
at the end.
Oh, I done that's collective.
Shit, now I have to do I thought I was getting out of delivering a lecture.
Okay, why don't...
Well, let me just comment. Let me just make this comment, and this is why I think the fight is so important. Yes, it's true. Nothing we experience today comes anywhere close, anywhere remotely close to the evil of communism or fascism of the middle part of the 20th century, or all the way to the end of the 20th century in the case of communism. However, there was always an alternative under those scenarios. There was always some place that was relatively free. If the West collapses, which I don't think is unthinkable, that is, if the West collapses into some kind of authoritarian government, meaning if the United States and Europe collapse, there will not be anywhere to escape to. There will not be any alternative. There will not be Ronald Reagan's word, Chinese city on a hill, right? There will be nowhere to go. And this is one of the reasons I believe fighting is so important. If you lived in the Soviet Union, escaping was the best alternative you had. If you lived in Nazi Germany, escaping was the next thing. Or even South Africa. My parents were born in South Africa. They hated apartheid, so they left, right? You could leave. There was somewhere to go. What we're fighting for today is to maintain that somewhere to go to, right? To maintain the United States, to maintain freedom in Europe. And you know, I wouldn't have said this 20 years ago, but I think it's slipping away much faster than anybody expected, particularly in the US. Again,